And welcome to I Protest. This is Donald Jeffries coming to you from just outside the swamp-infested Washington, D.C. As we do every Friday at this time. And we have a returning guest. Tom Siebert is, I admire him very much. He's a clever, witty writer. He has a nice Substack called Wrinkle in Time, which the title caught my eye a long time ago because I loved A Wrinkle in Time. One of my favorite books as a child. I'm sure that's how he named it. But we're going to have a lot of fun today. Tom is an expert on many subjects like I am. He kind of knows a lot about stuff that can't make you money like I do. I'm an expert on things that can't make me money. But anyhow, so Tom, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much. I've been pretty good at making a lot of other people money, I have to say. I have driven the capitalist machine fairly effectively.
Cool.
But,
good. We've done better. Maybe you've done better than me, but at any rate, so we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Tom recently wrote, he got me interested, and that's why I contacted him, about this notion. I know a lot of people that listen to this show. Kenny Powers says, you're Marv's double from Home Alone. I wouldn't,
double from Home Alone.
That's Daniel Stern.
Daniel Stern.
I possibly, I guess. People don't hit you in the head all the time, do they, with stuff?
No, they don't. But that's very what's the name of the builder in the Masons? He used to get bonked over his head. Harith the builder. Harith the whatever.
Is it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. It's my kids still love watching them. They never get tired of seeing Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci get hit in the head over and over again. It's just
there's something about that movie. There's something about that movie.
Yeah, it is great. But holiday classic. But anyway, so he was writing about a little bit talking about what do we have we talk about flat Earth on the show. We got hollow Earth. This is kind of more towards maybe hollow Earth, but that there's what's below us.
Yes.
And in terms of, and I live in Washington, D.C., and we have I know we have a lot of subterranean stuff out here. I don't know how much during the Pizzagate thing that was brought up before it was discredited and debunked, supposedly, where people talked about all and we still don't know all the underground stuff that's under D.C. It goes under some of the old, Capitol building and things like that. But so we don't know what's happening there. But I can tell, and I get the discussion started, and then I'll let Tom talk. But I probably never talked about this before. But back when I said I've always been a radical. So when I was probably 18, 19 years old, I was working at Inova Health, which I worked at pretty much my entire adult life until they fired me for helping a handicapped coworker. That's right to right to work. Let's right to work state for you. They don't have to have a reason. But
can I just add, who also then backstabbed you, right? After you helped him? Am I correct in remembering?
Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah.
You did him a favor, and then he backstabbed you anyway.
No good deed goes unpunished, right, but it turned out good because I'm doing exactly what I want. So it was all for the best, but
you're a winner.
But at that time we had in this, so I was working in this hospital, a large hospital itself at that time. So I got a lot of inspiration for that. My novel, The Unreal, is full of this kind of stuff. But there was a sub-basement below us, and not many people went down to the sub-basement. But, blue-collar derelicts like me, we got to go down there. And it was probably 130 degrees or something. I don't know how you could even survive down there. But so, we went down there. At the time, I had a Vietnamese supervisor who was a really interesting guy. And he was crazy, but he was interesting. He would tell me stories about Vietnam, but he took me down there one time, and he said, and he marched me, and it was like a catacombs down there. We went through there was this winding series of tunnels, and I thought, I'm never going to be able to find my way out of here because it was like a maze. And anyway, they eventually led to a building across the street, and we came up that way and visited his brother who worked there. But we had Melpar, which is a huge defense contractor that was near there then. And he told me, these tunnels lead over there.
Yeah.
And he didn't tell me, but I thought, I wonder if they lead to the Pentagon. I wonder if they lead to Mount Weather, which is a huge installation. California has Mount Shasta. We had Mount Weather. I had friends who tried to go to Mount Weather, drive up the winding road, the mountain road to Mount Weather. And they had, they had people with guns out there, chafed them off. This is 1970s. But what's most interesting about this is that later, I don't know, maybe a few months later, I had a young friend was working there. I said, let me show you what's down to the sub basement. They had walled it off. They walled off the tunnels, and they put toxic nuclear, and not, I don't know if it was nuclear, but some kind of toxic waste material that they had like in a special cage in front of it. And I said, wow, this is incredible. 'Cause I know I walk through those things, but so I don't know how many, that was just one place. Who knows how many places have these things?
That is so familiar and interesting, right? Now, there's a ton of stories about underground stuff and all that. I have actually experienced one, and that's in Paris. Everybody knows that there's a whole city underneath Paris, but people do not know how much of that city is, or how much city is underneath Paris. I worked at Shakespeare and Company, which had a basement and a sub basement where they kept a bunch of rare books, and then they had a passageway into this underground series of who knows what. I mean, basically, I was the right-hand man to George Whitman in 1985 in Paris. One weekend, he went away. There was another guy who worked there with me. He was actually a published author. He thought it was cool. He helped me get the keys to the thing downstairs. I went with a young woman from New Zealand down in those passageways. It starts going down, deeper and deeper, gets more and more like humid. You say warm, like 130. I don't know if it was that warmth, but it just was like an oppressive thing, because I guess you're going down towards the Seine River. And then we heard just like a thud in front of us. We went back. I wasn't going to go any further than that. But then I started asking around. And one of the things they don't talk about is like almost everything seems to converge at Notre Dame. And I think like that's something that should be out more, because anybody could have gotten in there from underground and then started that fire. Nobody talks about that. But all of those passageways, maybe they converge in a bunch of different places, but one place that I know of is Notre Dame, because that's really where I wanted to get. I was right across the Seine in Shakespeare and Company. They're in the first arrondissement, Notre Dame is, and then whatever. So it was close enough, but it just got too creepy. And then there was the noise, I mean, it's just weird, right? It's just all very weird.
Not a hunchback in sight, right?
No, nothing like that. Didn't really anything like that. Didn't have a candle, losing a flashlight, I mean, it wasn't like a Hammer horror movie or anything like that, but it was still weird enough. So yeah, that's right. The public tours only cover a small percent, tiny. And some of the passageways, which I've read about but didn't know, are like, I want to get back far enough, like you can fit through, but you like have to crawl your way to the next part of it.
Maybe there was the little people back then. We had the giant doors that Tartaria talks about that nobody normally I could have reached. Right. How about that?
Right. So, I mean, DC's underground, it. There's tons of stuff. I don't know how far it goes. I know all of Manhattan is underground, from Harlem all the way down to Wall Street. There's basements and sub-basements and sub-basements all the way down the island of Manhattan and maybe out into the boroughs. I don't know about that. But there's a whole world down there. They show us snippets of what it's like under Seattle and Portland. They flaunted it in that movie, The Night Strangler, with Darren McGavin, the sequel to The Night Stalker. I don't know if you've seen it. They literally go down in there. That's where the serial killer is living, right? Yeah. Stealing not blood exactly, but he's stealing like the life force from people underground. Yeah. I mean, like how much of this stuff are half truths?
And what about the Denver airport? What's going on in there? And the paintings, which who puts a painting up? And there's supposedly a giant something underneath the Denver airport. I don't know why, but I mean, that's the one where they, who would possibly put a painting up of what looks like a plane crash in an airport and people running and screaming? It's like, what? Explain that innocently. Why would you want to do that?
It's their contempt for us.
Yeah.
Right? It's like their open contempt for us. And then, I hate to be like one of those guys, but it's like, I wish we would stop validating their contempt for us. I wish humanity in general would stop validating these contemptuous people's contempt for us.
Absolutely. And they can't, what do they expect people to think? Because, again, these are, I mean, as you said, they talk about it. Maybe they flaunt it here or there. So we know it's there. Although, again, when Pizzagate, when they were trying to debunk that, all the talk about, and then we know they've already talked about some things that are underground in DC. But, how much is it? And why was it mentioned along with Pizzagate and then it instantly shut down? Oh, no. That's because, I mean, again, what are you doing down there? Are you, this is how you get, maybe are you snatching children off the street or something, or homeless for experimentation? I mean, what are you doing?
Right. Well, again, your listenership is far better informed than probably, 99.999% of the country. So they may know this stuff that I'm about to tell them. But James Elefantis, who owned that notorious Comet Ping Pong pizza place, owned another pizza place on that same block. I don't know if you knew that. He did. And it was that pizza place that had the basement that all the corporate media swore to you that Comet Ping Pong did not have that
basement. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. What I can tell you is that the other pizza place that was owned by James Elefantis did have a basement, and there's even a story still online where he talks about it. And finally, the third thing that James Elefantis owned on that block was an art gallery. Now, do your viewers already know that? I don't know.
Well, we get people. This we have Ann said, what about the Getty Museum in I guess L.A.? I don't know.
Yeah, I know the rumors. I'm not close enough to say I've been there.
And then we have the Black Zionist says, tell them about the underground tunnels in Crystal City, Virginia. That's near me.
Yeah,
I don't know about it. Well, I'll tell you what, the second half an hour, we're going to have hang around. The second hour, we'll have people come on. I'd like to hear about that because I have not heard about any underground tunnels in Crystal City, but it doesn't surprise me again, because this is very close to the seat of power.
About
right
it
outside DC.
I would welcome that guy to have him talk about it, frankly. Please.
Yeah, please do.
But I think all of these things are connected, honestly. I mean, I think Musk has been connecting all of these places underground, right? And his boring machines. I mean, again, you go back to the 70s, for a while, they were open about this stuff. They had enormous boring machines already that could go underground and turn stone into like almost a crystallized border around it. I mean, there is one book. I have a book called Dumbs, Deep Underground Military Base. What are they doing there? By Colonel somebody or another. That book used to be able to get on Amazon. That's very informative. It has the all the declassified stuff. They were declassifying it for a while.
Love to hear this, Renegade. And my buddy O.R. Busy, good to see you over in London. I know you're listening. It's not a great hour to be listening. I appreciate you, brother. And Chris Grays, back from the dead. Chris, we haven't heard from you or seen you for a long time, so it's wonderful to see you in chat. Hope you're doing well. Peter Seakosh and Chris Grays and Peter Seakosh have done so much great research for me. They contributed a lot to several of my books. I appreciate it. And Black Zionist says he searched for tunnels in Comet Ping Pong several times in his steak restaurant next door, but didn't find any tunnels. But swear there's a hidden trapdoor somewhere in there. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the person mention Tucker Carlson ate at Ping Pong. I've eaten it. Yeah, they've had good pizza.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think Billy Ray ate it when he just last year or something. So and that's the thing, is that not everybody. So when you make these things, it's like they keep saying, first of all, it has not been debunked. That's nonsense. And what has not been debunked are the Instagram postings of Elefantis and other people, which are at the very least incredibly creepy. Hashtag kill rum with the big say. What does that mean? And the little girl that's maybe 5, if that's duct taped with her hands on a table. What is that?
Yeah, rings under her eyes and that frozen. Yeah, no.
What is that supposed to be? What's explain that innocently?
They're flexing. They're flexing. I mean, it's while it was going down, Jake Tapper's wife was in Washingtonian bragging that Comet Ping Pong was their favorite restaurant. Jake Tapper, author of the Hellfire Club books, right? I mean, just flaunting and flexing.
And speaking of the Hellfire Club, that goes back to, you're talking about Benjamin Franklin, and one of the members there. And That was basically an underground club because it was deep below a monk abbey.
Yep.
And they supposedly held orgies there with nuns prostitutes dressed as nuns. Again, just blasphemous as can be. And Ben Franklin, great man in many ways, but it's hard to overcome being a member of the Hellfire Club in my book.
And all those dead skeletons in your basement. Literally.
Yeah, exactly. And he didn't have skeletons in his closet.
Right, exactly.
He has literal skeletons in his wall.
Right. But again, you and I have kind of touched on this before. It's like, I think we all kind of know that those top dogs were all Luciferians, right?
Yeah.
They're all Luciferians. And so the best we're going to get from Luciferians is like free will and freedom. We can do what we want. They're going to do what they want, Yeah. Where, like my pal Ian Ferguson, the astrologer, says, the Malachians don't even give us that. The Malachians are like, we're going to do what we want, and you're going to do what we want.
And now that we know they're not only Luciferians, but clearly a part of that, is that they were that they're the Epstein files, and I published 3 parts of them in my Substack. Peter Sikash did a lot of great research on that. Is that they're definitely cannibals. They're unquestionably cannibals, and it's like, how are we supposed to? And you tell the average person that, oh, you're crazy. It's like, that's like deepest, darkest Africa, with Bugs Bunny or something, and somebody's sticking him in his. No, these are our elite leaders.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They can't stop talking about it.
You're right. They love it. But you know what? It's bad for you. It's bad for you. You see what's happening to all these witches. Look at all these emaciated witches. They're telling you it's Ozempic. I think that's like some of it, but that's not all of it. Somebody like Ariana Grande and what's her name? Cynthia Erivo, all the Charlize Theron. Those are all high adept black magic witches who are drinking blood a lot, and it's all they really like anymore. And that's why they don't put on any fat. That's why they're putting on all their fat. I talked to like an expert on this a couple months ago. That's why you're also seeing all these other chicks who claim to be witches are getting fat, because the ones who don't drink the blood, the ones who really aren't all that evil, they get eaten from the inside out in a different way. They consume too much food. They get fat. They start to hate themselves. That's what's going on. That's why you see these witches go either super skinny or fat. So I've been told.
Yeah, well, no, it's and we got lots of interesting comments in the chat, but and there's and what do you think about that? And what I guess we can this kind of leads in, because the Epstein files I think are very significant, and I just wrote a story for American Free Press in the next issue. But when you have somebody like Ron Wyden, who's pretty much wrong on every issue, but he's been great on the Epstein files, and he wants to get to the truth of it, but then it turns out, that they shut him down because apparently his son met with Epstein for advice or something. So is everybody connected to this guy? Is Epstein even a real thing? How can one person, a college dropout that became the world's only math teacher ever that didn't have a college degree, and then turn that somehow into being a billionaire? How can he? Everybody is connected to this guy.
Yes, maybe he's the biggest dog. What? It's not my line. What does Kurt Metzger say? It's like, if Epstein's dead, he was working for Intel. If Epstein's not dead, Epstein's running Intel.
Kurt Metzger's great. Yeah.
Yes. Has he asked you to be on his show? Incidentally, he should.
I know he's, I've got like 5 degrees of separation between him, Jimmy Dore, and all those guys. And hopefully one day Jimmy Dore has liked a few things I've tweeted on X, but Jimmy Dore has, I think, 3 of my books. We sent him Masking the Truth. Peter Sikash didn't get to meet him, but he was out in San Francisco and he met one of his people and gave him American Memory Hole. And years ago, my publicist sent him Survival of the Richest. So he has 3 of my books. So the name on her, and he was supposed to interview me years ago, but when RT television was still, their studios were still in Washington, D.C. And I went there several times, and I was interviewed by Sean Stone on his show a couple times. Jesse Ventura had me on a couple times. So they asked me back, and Jimmy Dore was the guest host for Jesse Ventura a lot in those days. And so Jimmy Dore was going to, I was really happy. I said, oh, cool. So now, I say, hey, did you get my book? But they canceled on me for some reason. Then they canceled the next 2 times they asked me too. So I don't know what happened. Jesse has changed a lot. So maybe he looked at what I was writing, and needless to say, RT's been outlawed now. So there's no.
Well, I mean, I think you might be a little too dangerous for Jimmy Dore still, as much as I love Jimmy Dore.
Yeah.
But Kurt Metzger should be like perfect for you with your books and the stuff that you say. Really, I definitely think so. Especially just like I feel like that book. What's the one about fame?
Unborrowed fame. Yeah.
Yes. Like that should be like such the wheelhouse for him, because it's like if there's anybody who is seeing mediocrities pressed off as stars right now, it's Kurt Metzger. Right?
Yeah.
Right? He's out there like on the periphery of like all these mediocrities that we're being told are stars who are going to be forgotten in 10 months.
Yeah, well, that was my idea. That was because I'm really impressed by what fame means. To me, the definition of fame is I would define fame as when an appreciable number of people know who you are that you don't know. So in which case, a lot of us are famous by that definition on a very small scale.
Yes.
But so what does fame mean? Of course, it can mean many millions. It can mean hundreds or thousands, in the case of some of us. But, I talked in there about how going back I looked up some people that were famous in the 1600s and 1700s. Not many of them that they even mention now, other than Shakespeare. And, these are all forgotten. Most of the people that were famous in the 1800s are forgotten.
Yes.
Many of the, like I try to impress people sometimes. People know I'm a shameless name dropper. And so I become friends with John Gilbert's granddaughter. And she's very politically active, Lauren Hart. Hope she doesn't mind me mentioning her name. But nobody remembers who John Gilbert is. He was the biggest movie star in the world during the silent era, 1925 or so. His voice, Louis B. Mayer sabotaged him on purpose because John Gilbert punched Louis B. Mayer out in the bathroom. So Louis B. Mayer sabotaged his career and messed with the voice track, so he didn't have the soundtrack. He became an alcoholic, died at 30. One of the sad stories in On Borrowed Fame, which is full of them.
Yes.
But I tried, and people didn't. Most people I talked to didn't remember John Barber, my good friend who died earlier this year at 93. Who was the host of Real People, the #1 TV show in the country from 1979, 1981. Who? They don't remember the show. And I said, well, it was the #1 show, but Americans have short attention spans, especially. And so they don't remember a lot of famous people. And those are the people that intrigue me, the people that were famous.
Right. That's what I mean. It's like to be like so famous and then forgotten. Like, okay. First off, big fan of John Barber. No question. Loved his book. Made me laugh out loud. Good story. And things in his life resonated with like things that happened in my own life. Like, ooh, I thought that way at his age. Gee, I thought that way at mine. But I mean, he wasn't like a movie star. Like John Gilbert. No. Like John Barber could walk down the street of like some town in Ohio. Know who he was. John Gilbert in 1921 or whatever could not walk down a street in Ohio and have people just like not know who he was. But now he's totally forgotten. So like I gotta it's not a coincidence. I gotta bring up this guy because this guy fascinates me. He was the biggest. I put this up because I dig her, but he was like the biggest star in the world. The biggest. Peter Wingard, they say now. It was Weingard when I was a kid, but now it's Wingard, I guess, because Wingard is cool. Do you even know who I'm talking about?
I don't. Is it Peter Weigard, or wait, was he on a 70s shows?
Yes, no. His signature character was Jason King. If you know Jason King. All right. Well, I don't want to waste everybody's time with this. Then never mind. He was. See how that's how forgotten he was. I'll send you something about it.
No, sure, but I mean, what was he on? What was he on shows or movies or?
He was on a show called Department S, which was like the #1 show in the world, except it wasn't on TV in America at first.
Oh, okay.
That's behind that as well. Then his ego got so big that he pushed out the 2 other stars on Department S, which was about a team of 3 people. But he was the breakout star, and he's like, well, if you wanted to come back, it's got to be about me. It's going to be James King. So they did one series of that, and he was bigger than ever. He was voted sexiest star in the world, best dressed man. Like, his plane arrived in Australia, and there were so many women there that he got attacked, and they had whatever. And then it turns out, at the peak of his career, because he thinks he's untouchable, the way these people always get, he tries to pick up a male cop in a men's room, and he gets busted, and it's in the media, and that's it. That's it. He only does stage work for the rest of his career. He's done. No more TV. He did one movie. He was in that Flash Gordon movie, and he never takes off his mask in it. He's a guy in the big gold.
That's one. And it's amazing that there's and Andy Warhol, who is the perfect example of somebody who was famous for nothing, but he did leave us with something, famous for 15 minutes of fame, and it's everywhere. The 15 minutes of fame. It's just incredible how. And I'm a kind of obsessed with that, because I wonder what happens to these people. How did they get famous? Look at the and now that the YouTube and the internet has created these viral influencers, which nobody that can think critically can understand them at all. I mean, you had the Cast Me Outside girl that was 13 years old, went viral saying "Cast Me Outside" or some kind of stupid nonsense, and got to be on Dr. Phil, and as a complete idiot. I mean, she looked hard, she was made a fool of herself, but she just kept getting more subscribers. And I don't know what she does today. She's probably, I guess, rich. I don't even know. But people like that have no talent, they're just, there's another kid that my daughter used to love when she was little, that he used to make these videos where he just talked with his voice full of helium. Oh. We've all done that. And he just went crazy. All the little girls loved him. He ended up with a show on Nickelodeon for a while. So I don't, but these guys burn out though. I think a lot of, because like one of the other shows that we used to watch back then was called Drake and Josh. And I talk about that in my book. Drake Bell, who was really huge on Nickelodeon, he's not doing too well. A year or two ago, they had a special about the guy on Nickelodeon that supposedly, did inappropriate things with some of these people. And that's when he came out and said things like that. But that's the first attention he'd had in a long time. But he was a real talented guy. And
I think most young men and teen boys get latched onto by a big male star and then turned out.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean that's there's no question that.
Yeah.
Or Busy said nobody's bigger than Mr. Jeffries. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you think that, OR. You may be the only person in the world that thinks that, but that's cool. I appreciate that. But on this podcast, no one's bigger than me.
That's right.
That's for sure.
But I would like you were talking about something that like they made me think like I wanted to talk about these altars, or if there is this like evil spirits that move from person. Who was it that we were talking? Was it about stars that we were just discussing? Like someone changed, right? Who was it we were talking? Or like, well, okay, I remember it was how these like YouTube stars come out of nowhere. Like how
yes.
How did they come out of nowhere?
I'd like to know that.
How did movie stars used to come out of nowhere? I tend to think it is exactly what some of these like esoteric types are saying, that the muses, the lower G gods, these things that are around us, they are leaving Hollywood and all that, and they're moving to these new areas where they can have more influence.
And I think they pick people, the Cat Williams, and he was talking mostly about black celebrities. There's a ton of black celebrities now that you don't really know where they came from. But Cat Williams went on Shannon Sharp, of all people's shows, and he talked about this thing about being installed. Yep. That these people are installed, especially a lot of them are plucked really from obscurity. Because in Survival of the Richest, I went over the backgrounds of and 99% of celebrities throughout the course of history came from at least upper middle class families. Very few of them came from poverty, but a lot of the black celebrities did, or seemingly. And so they're plucked out of nowhere, and then they're just installed. The P. Diddy's. I mean, how does a P. Diddy, I think if I remember, his father was a murderer. His father killed somebody. And I think he was 19 or 20, and he's owning a record company. What's missing there? There's something. How do you get in a position to own a record company? Somebody had to find you and install you. That's what happened.
After they had already determined that you were going to do what they told you.
Yes.
Because you've been through the ringer so many times,
Yeah, they vet them and they make sure that somebody said that UYY says Cast Me Outside Girl was a self-made mogul. Well, I guess. I don't know.
I felt like something happened to her. I don't remember. I mean, again, I don't. Let me ask you this. Actually, we can just like change the subject. Do you find yourself like just paying less attention to all this now? I used to watch a bunch of people regularly. Now I don't.
No, I don't. I mean, I watch. I watch no TV really now at all, and I watch Jason Whitlock still, although he's hit or miss with me. I like him a lot, his podcast, and I like Candace Owens still, even though I'm aware she's got a curious background, but I watch her stuff, and I watch Jimmy Dore some, and I watch those pretty much, and sometimes Tucker Carlson here or there, but nothing. I don't have a like a wish list or anything when I sit there, and I don't watch myself anymore. I used to, when I first started doing, I was so fascinated with myself, I had to watch every interview.
Yes,
I gave that up a long time ago. Yes.
Yeah, I still watch my things through once just to make sure I don't say anything too stupid.
That's what I did for a while, and then I assured myself I had cured myself of my generation's habit of saying too much. So I think I was doing that when I first started out, because we all did. Everybody my age, we just did it, ran that into the ground.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. And that was, if you listen to Dave McGowan, the late great Dave McGowan, I love him.
Yep.
But that was something he did.
Yep.
When he said so often. I used to sit there and say, because he's saying such great stuff, and I guess he was so great that it didn't matter.
Yeah. So no, but I think I just want people to pay more attention to the fact that we're not top dog on this planet, and I think the entities that are going to make it increasingly known that we're not. And the people who seem like they're so on top of things right now, I don't think they are.
No. Did you see Dawn Lambert says she's talking about Leo DiCaprio, was babysat at 3 by my neighbor, but spent his time at my place. Wow. So could you tell he was going to be a star, Don, even then? Did he? And you could tell by the cut of his jib that one day he would be incredibly. And that's the thing, people. It's a small world. There are, there are connections everywhere, and that's a pretty cool story.
Child star was a victim in my book. Any child star was a victim, as far as I'm concerned. You have to convince me otherwise.
Oh yeah, that's Black Zionist loves Dave McGowan. Yeah, it's and we have. We talked about Dave McGowan, and Dave's book Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon. You probably read Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon. I mean, it's kind of this. And what I found, what I thought was really cool.
PR for Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon when Dave McGowan died. I was doing free PR for free for Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon when Dave McGowan died.
And I had just started contacting him. We emailed a few things back and forth, because one of these influencers that I don't know how big of a following has, a guy named Miles Mathis.
Yeah.
Who is he's the king of everything, and I mean everything is fake. There's nothing. He's a painter. A lot of people think he's not real, that he's a algorithm or something.
Well, I don't know about that, but he's not one guy. There's no way that's one guy. There's no way that's one guy.
Yeah.
Right?
And everybody, but he early on, somebody told me, he's saying you're not real. This is a long time ago, and I'm surprised he knew who I was. And he coupled me with Dave McGowan, which I was very flattered by. And he said, the people like Don Jeffries and Dave McGowan, they're false opposition. They don't exist. Just look at them. They're ghosts. They're not real. And so I emailed him to assure him that I did exist. And then I said, I'd love to have you come on the podcast. So he was so full of himself. He didn't apologize for saying that I didn't exist or anything, but he said he doesn't do interviews. So he doesn't do interviews. So he'd be a great interview to try to, because he does have some fascinating stuff, but he literally thinks nothing happened. And he thinks everybody's a Jew. Everybody. I mean, it doesn't matter who it is, Italian names. So somehow they're all Jews. So, It's all fake and gay. Kenny Carr says, yeah, he's probably the creator of that.
Well, I gotta tell you, I mean, it's like I recently discovered I'm like majority Zionist, or not Zionist, sorry, Ashkenazi.
Oh, I didn't know that. Really? Okay.
I didn't know it either until my nephew did a test, and he was 83%. So if he's 83% and he's half my brother, that means I'm at least 83 minus 17, 83,
66.
Ooh, 66.6, maybe.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's great, man. Well, I mean, can you turn that into something? I mean, Ashkenazis run everything, so you should be able to.
What? Sorry.
Maybe you can bring your genealogy chart down to the local ADL headquarters or something. Get something out of it.
Maybe I can take some Palestinian's house or something. What do you think? I'm going to go see if I can take some Palestinian's house. I deserve it. You know, I deserve it. I've had a tough life.
Or you can take 66% of one of their houses, or maybe, or something.
You know what? Yeah, right. 66.6% of one of the Palestinians' houses. And I'll tell you what, we can give a third of it to like one of those little Palestinian hotties. And she
that's your only stipulation. There you go. Yes.
See, people, I am a horrible prick. I really am.
You're open-minded, sure. You know, that's interesting to hear. But
we said we were going to have some fun today, so that's what we're doing.
Well, yeah, especially in free form. I mean, people, I never script anything. I mean, I just like to, because usually, especially the chat's pretty active today. So when they come in, they really sometimes they send me.
I'm a Christian. I love Jesus Christ. He saved my soul. Thank you very much. But I do got the Ashkenazi stuff going on. Don't know what to tell you.
Okay, well, you may have to reject him if you're going to be a real Ashkenazi.
Right. If I want that out, then they better throw in the Palestinian hottie. Is all I got to say.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're going to have to do that. As I understand it, I don't know. But as I tell people all the time, I don't know what I talk about. That's why I came up with the term the non-Irish, because I got tired of typing Jew so much. Yeah. I said, I'm sick of just saying Jew, this Jew, that. So it's non-Irish. People like it. But as I told I don't know what it means to be a Jew. Most of my relatives, I have a huge family. Most of them are either 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, or 1/16 Jewish. Almost all my cousins are. And, none of them, I don't think any of them identify as a Jew. And so I don't know. Many of them have been financially successful, though, so maybe there's something to it. but I don't know what it means. But so what does that mean? Are they Jews? I don't know. So when people talk about it, it's like you got to be. It's a weird area there.
Yeah, I mean, I spent most of my whole life, like really digging the Jews. Most of my best friends were Jews. I had Jews in my wedding. I would probably pick a Jew to hang out with. Over like most. Like people because they were smart or whatever. Only the past couple of years, as Israel has gone nuts under Netanyahu, I kind of been geez, Jews, what's up? But I was always in Israel's corner.
Yeah, that
ass kicked in a debate when I lived in Atlanta trying to stick up for Israel when Netanyahu was running the country the first time long ago.
Well, I only started recently. I mean, I've always been suspicious of Israel, but I really didn't start writing about them much. Like if you look at all my books, I hardly mention them really, very little. There's here or there, but now of course I'm concentrating on Substack because of the tenor of the times. But the reason I brought up, and this is what I do, Tom. I now remember why I brought up Dave McGowan, because I was watching when I went to see. I saw Bob Dylan. Everybody reads my Substacks now. I saw him recently again. And talked about his concert.
Was that one of your most read recent Substacks? Was that one of your most read recent Substacks, that Bob Dylan piece?
It didn't get read that much, but it was read. All of them get read pretty well, but not as much as.
Like it got really good engagement from where I was sitting, but that might just be because of the.
Yeah, no, they do. There's a lot of people, and of course, almost everybody thought I was stupid to like Dylan, and the most of my readers think I'm stupid to like anybody. It's like because everybody's fun. I've been assured by most people that everybody's a shill except me, so I'm glad I'm not. But everybody else is, and certainly Dylan is. But because he's obviously a Jew, and he's. He hung around the Jewish Defense League at one point, but I said, this was one of my heroes, and I was inspired to write my own.
We're going to return to that. You brought up something I've been wanting to mention. Go. I just wrote
Yeah. So anyhow, after writing a thing for then I happened to see an interview with Jacob Dylan, who I also like. I think the Wallflowers are a great group, and I wish they put out more music. So I was watching him talk to who was he interviewed by? Was it Joe Rogan? Maybe, I don't know. But anyhow, he mentioned that he talked about he couldn't remember the name of it, but he talked about how much he loved the Weird Seeds Inside the Canyon book, and they brought it up, and I thought, okay, that's like a couple degrees removed from my books. So theoretically, Bob Dylan's son could have read one or more of my books if he read Dave McGowan's. I mean, it's possible. So, I'm just saying, so I'm going to claim that maybe he has, and I'm hoping that, and then if that's the case, maybe he showed it to his old man. Who knows? Maybe he showed, hey, look at this, Dad. I don't know if I like that.
I would bet money that Bob Dylan has read that book. I would bet money, and a lot of it.
Yes, his son. Yeah, definitely.
That because it has been my experience, and I've heard from others that these stars and stuff, they obsess about themselves. So, like, when anybody who is not like bought into their myth, like writes about stuff or writes about them in ways that are counterculture or might be dangerous or challenging, they're interested.
Yeah, exactly. Black Scientist, you got to come in the when I open up, put the link in the thing. Talk about Bob Dylan and Ed Bradley interview where he said he sold his soul to the Chiefs. I got a lot of that. I've seen that interview. I don't think it was that clear that he was saying he sold. I mean, he kind of hinted it, but Dylan always says weird stuff like that.
Dylan, I don't, very ambiguous.
Yeah. I don't think it's very clear that
All right, I would like to bring up one thing that I've thought about before when it comes to like the intelligence community and how it controls what we see and do. All right, I would notice that after Jimmy Carter got elected to the presidency in 1976 and served until 1980, there was a plot in motion, probably via Christian or pseudo-Christian Jimmy Carter, to make all these arts more Christian oriented. Like, it doesn't seem a coincidence to me that like Bob Dylan and Van Morrison both returned to their Christian roots the same year, 1979, right? Right? U2, Simple Minds, all these other UK bands coming out in 1980, right? Christians, new wave band, Christian.
Sure.
So I think it was just like a new op. That was just like another new op. And then they got replaced by grunge, and then grunge got replaced by rap. And it's just like on and on and on, further down. Maybe Carter gave it a bump for a little while. I don't know.
Well, Jimmy Carter, and I talked, Carter was my first vote, and I was old enough to vote for the first time. And I had, I was a staunch Democrat then. I thought they were the good guys, and I didn't like him, but I wasn't going to vote for Gerald Ford, a Warren Commission member, because I already was into the JFK assassination. So he threw some little tidbits out there, and he was, John Barber claimed that he talked about the Kennedy assassination. I didn't argue with John because I loved him, but I was listening for that stuff constantly back then, and I never heard him say a word, even though his sister, Ruth Cardinal Stapleton, was a real activist and, was talking about the JFK conspiracy all the time. So he had to know, but the guy was president. Yeah. It was right after the House Select Committee. He could have used it. It was during the House Select Committee. He should have talked about it all the time, but he never did. But he did quote Bob Dylan. He not busy being born is busy dying. He quoted that line, which I thought was a great line. And so give him credit for that. I don't think anybody else has ever quoted him. UYY says he wasted so much money on music as a kid. Tell me about it. I don't know how much money, how many albums I have.
Yeah, but I mean, what else would you be spending it on? Drugs?
What? Maybe so, but and that's right. No, that's true, and that's why I talk.
I remember some great makeout sessions to good music and all that kind of stuff. Come on.
Yeah. Exactly.
I wasted my money on Pac-Man, maybe. Threw all my quarters in Pac-Man.
Yeah. Ben says, I thought Dylan was born a Jew. He was born a Jew. His name was Robert Zimmerman, and he switched to Christianity, became a born againer in like 79. But we don't know what he is now because he wrote a lot of spiritual music, and I don't know that Dylan knows what he is. And he did have that interview where he kind of hinted that he sold the big man or whatever he called him. I forget what he called him.
The man upstairs, right? Was it
what?
The man upstairs?
Man upstairs? I
don't
know. Somebody in the chat. What did he refer? I'm sure somebody knows.
Yeah,
they know all these things, but I can't remember. But I mean, I remember listening to it, but I mean, the guy has done so many drugs. He's 85 years old to even be doing it. And again, I'm not sure that was him. I said, he's wearing a hoodie. He's at the back of the stage. It's dimly lit. It could have been anybody. And he sounded like Dylan. Lots of people can do a Dylan impersonation. So, or it could have been a hologram. You could have not even been real. Who knows? But
I do have the quote if you want.
Chief Commander Ryan Scarborough. Thank you. I was a Chief Commander. Yeah.
But even just to add to that, the Chief Commander on this earth and in the world we can't see.
Is that what he said? Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
I made a bargain with it, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my end. When asked who that bargain was with, Dylan replied, with the Chief Commander on earth and in the world we can't see.
That's interesting. Yeah, certainly people could go that way, but I mean, he could, because I think a lot of us think that the Chief Commander is Satan in this world, but I don't think he's the Chief Commander of the world we can't see, or at least not all of it. Let's hope not.
Well, certainly the term Chief Commander begins with 2 C's, and as we know, the letter C translates to the number 3. So what Bob Dylan is telling us is that
33.
Commander is 33. And who uses 33? I know you know as well as me.
Oh, actually, at 33 cups. I mean, it gets you hear that. If you start listening for it, you go crazy. I mean,
you see it everywhere.
Cash Patel saying we searched for the suspect for about 33 hours. 33 hours. You know exactly how many hours you searched for him, huh? Who was it? Kate Dally, who a lot of people in this chat suggested I get on the show, and I tried to, and she didn't answer me. She has nobody that watches her. Kate Dally, but she did a good show where she talked about 33, and she gave so many examples of how often it pops up and how many people say it, and it is ridiculous. It's so obvious that they're just dropping hints, or maybe it's something they have to do or something.
I always wonder, like, is it that, or are they like trying to frame somebody, right? Is it really for them, or is it to make somebody else look bad, or is it just like to mock in general? I mean,
yeah, or they're screwing. So they like to screw with us, and because they definitely love to screw with us. There's no question about it. They love to mess with us, and they love to get you looking in the wrong direction, and they love to make things very obvious, and then have you argue. Yes, that's right. 33 levels in Freemasonry. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Yes.
Right, exactly. And that's another thing I don't want to find out. People have asked me, why don't you join the Masons and find out? No.
I'm not going with the Masons. No. If I were to go, I mean, I don't know. I'm starting to dig around here in Baltimore. I mean, it's not the Masons.
No, and again, it's
I don't want to deal with the scientists either. The question is who? Where's he now?
I don't want to go to any of these meetings that are secret because I don't know what they could do. I mean, okay, we're going to kill you if you don't keep. I mean, the Masons' secret. We do know what the oath they swear for the beginning Mason, and that it's something I swear, not to reveal my secrets, or my tongue will be cut off and thrown and tied at high tide. It's like
that's why I'm not joining the Masons.
It's like so. Why would I want to join? No, I don't think so, because I don't know what What if you have some secrets that really bother me? Then you're going to cut my tie. Wait, okay, that's allegory. Maybe it's just some, but it's a kind of symbolism I don't want to hear.
Yeah, I that's a problem. I mean, not to get back to Kurt Metzger, he says like everything is out in the open now. You don't need to join any of these places, which I think is probably true up to an extent.
I'm not a joiner. I'm not a joiner now.
Yeah, but there's information you got to give up to get. I mean, just Just from living and working at Shakespeare and Company in that rare book room, there are books that have things that no
Well,
other.
there's a fellow Baltimore resident there for you. The lovely Robin Lee says she lives in Baltimore. Our generation spent money on albums and 45 tapes, CDs. Kate, and she's listening to Kate Daly. Had a great program, The Beatles, yesterday, part 2 Monday. I can't watch Kate Daly because I'm pissed off that she didn't respond to me, Robin. I'm sorry, because I just look, and she apparently was pretty big in the past, but maybe they hold their. Yes, Robin wants to know, are you in Baltimore, Tom?
Yes.
Yes, he does. And she should have been perfect for me. People say, oh, she'll love you, but she didn't respond. And I don't know. I just haven't that. I got that from John Barber. John Barber would get so incensed when people didn't respond to his emails very quickly, too. I give him a little bit of time. But if they don't respond to me, it's like, I don't know, just me. And no one has ever asked to interview me that I didn't respond to, ever. I always respond to them. And I always say yes. I mean, I'm like the girl, I'm making jokes, but back in the day, I always say yes.
LA? Is Kate Daly in LA?
I don't know where she did. I'm sure
California.
Angel Blue says I think Angel Blue is the one that recommended Kate to me. So I don't know.
Anyway, people in California, it's just they think nothing about like blowing off appointments, not responding to people. They're all just so important.
It
was supposed to call me from a car on like a 5-hour trip on his way from LA to Las Vegas the other day. We're going to talk about something, didn't cancel, didn't call. That's just the way LA people are. So if she's in LA, that would be my
I don't know, maybe somebody knows. And N says Poe is a fellow Baltimorean. He's still remembered. I have to watch this movie. I don't know if you've heard of Matthew Arrett. He's a really interesting guy. And I've been on Arby Ham's show several times. Now I think I'm going to be on Matthew Arrett's thing presenting about the JFK assassination. But him and his wife do movies, and they did a really interesting movie about Edgar Allan Poe, which might interest you. And
what was it?
I think his argument was that Poe is not, and he thinks they murdered. He thinks, I don't know who they is, but certainly his death was suspicious. So I have to watch it to be able to talk more about it. Maybe has anybody in the audience seen Matthew Arrett's movie about Edgar Allan Poe? That's right, Robin Lee, Vince. Yes, we can blame Vince Agnelli, who's not in the chat, my good friend. I think he did. He's the one that first recommended Kate Daly. That's exactly right.
Well, I mean,
she used to be in California. She was on Beck platform and she was on Fox before. She used to be in California.
He's that kind of forget it then, dude. She sucked dick to get ahead, I'm sure. Forget it.
Yeah. Well, she's
Is she hot?
I mean,
kind of hot.
I don't look at her that much. I don't remember that necessarily jumping out at me, but I do know that
he was on Fox. Forget it.
Yeah, and she now has, and I think they must be messing with her numbers, because if you look, she has almost like 40 views and almost no views on YouTube, and I don't know how that's even possible, because she seems to have a lot of fans. But I know they screw with my views too, so maybe they're doing that to her.
Everything is, I guess if I was writing, maybe it wouldn't have, but I can't even post videos on Substack anymore. They just cut stuff out so much. They cut so much out.
I hope that Substack is screwing with my restack some, but I don't know what's going on in X. I was trying to figure out, because X has been shadow banning me almost as bad as Facebook for years, but suddenly the last 2 days, I don't even know how many hundreds of subscribers, 600 or something like that, followers suddenly came at one time, and that never happens to me. I struggle to get stragglers here or there, and they usually take them away, right? Because that's how the shadow ban works.
Right.
They unfollow people. But I can't figure out. They look normal. They look legitimate. But I kept thinking, well, did somebody famous mention me? But I can't find anything. So I don't know why that happened. But it's gone back to normal again today with nobody. But
I know my tweets about entertainment, when I say sarcastic things about famous people or offer a cogent point on a film, I'll get 500 to 700 views. But if I say something about politics, I'll get 20.
Yeah, exactly. Anthony Ty was in Rumble. I don't know. I got to figure out. I can't even access the Rumble chat for him from here. So if Anthony, do me a favor. If people are over in Rumble, can you tell them to come over to YouTube? Because I can't see what they're saying there. I don't know. I'm not that. The thing about it is the great thing, StreamYard. Like if somebody says something from X, which they almost never do, or Facebook, which they really never do, almost all of it comes from YouTube, then all the comments come in here. So I can see them and I can respond to them. I can put them on the screen. Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate it. So he's going to do it. Anybody bring people over if there's anybody there, but more the merrier. But anyway, we only got like 5 minutes till we'll bring people on. So what else did you want to talk about? Because I'm sure hopefully we'll get some people that'll jump in. That, although we don't have White Wolf here, he's usually the main guy that does. And if White Wolf's here, he's going to talk about Our Lady of Fatima in the Catholic Church probably, but he's not here. So
we got White Wolf and Black Zionist.
Yeah, right. White Wolf and Black Zionist. Yeah, that's quite a pair. White Wolf tonight. White Wolf versus Black Zionist.
We need somebody who goes by like the Gray Pope, maybe. The Gray Pope.
That's a great name. Black Zionist is relatively new, but I've been noticing him lately.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the two things I wanted to talk about, I mean, I think we kind of hit sort of straight out of the gate that there's this whole world underneath like what we see here. You know, there's a whole other thing going on. That there are these entities that we don't see, and they're going bouncing from person to person because they want to be adored, because they're probably like the fallen angels who wanted to be worshipped like God, and they didn't. So they got tossed, and now they're down here going from movie stars to rock stars to politicians to now influencers. So they get all these fans who worship them, all your little minions who worship like whatever it is through the ages, you know. So
it's Black Zionist said I'm lucky. He's well. I would love to see you, brother. But you're at work. Okay, I understand. I guess he won't be able to come on. But there's RB Ham right on. There's the fighting Canadian trucker. So he's a great man, very courageous guy. He's one of the Canadian convoy.
All right,
I paid the price for it. But I'm on his show quite a bit a lot of Saturday nights on Beyond the Pale, the Rumble channel. So a lot of people doing great work out there. We're all struggling for recognition. We're struggling to get people to watch us and listen. And we don't. Sometimes we look at people and it's like, I look at some of these podcasts and I don't know what the secret is. I don't know what these people are doing because I don't know what they're watching.
What do you mean exactly? What do you don't know?
I mean, there's a guy. Okay, and again, I can give you the easy answer and say, okay, his name is Friedman, non-Irish success, but the guy's name is Lex Friedman.
Okay,
I don't know how. I think he's got a couple million subscribers or something like YouTube. It would be impossible to find somebody more boring than this guy. He literally, I don't think there's.
I know him. I know of him. Yeah, I know who Lex Friedman is.
I think he had Trump on him. He gets the biggest guest and. Who is he? He literally he's so boring. He makes Ed Sullivan look exciting. I mean, he's got no personality at all, no humor, nothing. And he's kind of quiet. And, I don't, how do you possibly get that much? I mean, I don't understand.
So he's like sort of the Thomas Friedman of 2026, even more boring than the original Friedman, right?
Yeah.
Consequential than the last Friedman. That's what's going on.
I think he is. Well, again, we could say the name there for that one, but I mean, they're not all that way. And some of the, some of these other ones, I just look at it, it's like, how do you have, and all of these people are full of themselves. It wasn't just Kate Dalley, but because a lot of times I'll see somebody that I like on YouTube and I say, okay. And I'm thinking maybe I'll do them a favor and nobody's interviewing them, but they never answer me. They never answer me. It's like, who are you guys really? I don't see you interviewed anywhere else.
Well, do you think maybe somebody in Intel is throwing up a roadblock for you, not keeping your emails from going through?
Well, I guess it's possible. I don't know. I guess so. They could do anything they wanted. They just, there's and nothing would surprise me. I mean,
but also I have to say, I've noticed. And again, this is just circumstantial and sort of vibe and instinct and pattern recognition. I think that there is some sort of rule, law, vow that people in these secret societies can't communicate with us, are not allowed, can't come back. I know like a couple people in town here in Baltimore that since I came back, I tweet them because I think they're involved in something. Now they no longer talk to me at all. Nothing. Don't respond to emails. Nothing.
Yeah, well, that might be. I mean, and it's some, it could be just, and it could be just kind of an elitist thing, even if they weren't in secret societies. I've compared, especially our world, the alt media world, whatever this is, the conspiracy world, with the high school hierarchy. Where there's, we're not, we're not sitting with Joe Rogan and people like that at the main table in the cafeteria.
Rogan.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, those are the people. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens. Those are the people that get to sit at the main table in the cafeteria. They're the most famous. They have the most followers. And people like us, we're just kind of, we'll sit with each other. We'll sit with people like us, but we can't walk up to that table. Can I sit next to you, Candace Owens? She'll turn her nose up. I mean, that's what a high school cheerleader would do. And it's very much like that. And they look at, I'm convinced that they look at, because when I don't have, I think I'm up to over 7,000 followers on Twitter now, because I got like 600 yesterday, but it took me so long to get that. And when I look at some of these people, how many followers they have, and I'm wondering, how did you do it? Did you pay for them? I don't know, but I know that the people that follow me, almost none of them have maybe 1% have more followers than I do. I don't have that many. So that's the way it works, is they follow people with more followers.
Right.
And
but I would have at least twice as many followers as I do if I didn't immediately block all the like shills and whores and bots and stuff that like follow me. Like if I see something and it's like 18 call me or whatever, boom, you're blocked. It's like, I don't want those fake followers. So I mean, if you go down, like these people who have like 100,000 of them, go down, 50,000 of them or more are nobodies. They're shills, they're bots, they're not real people. So like all of this is fake to some degree. I mean, I'm sure people are listening to Joe Rogan. I'm sure people are listening to Candy O and all that. But I can tell you, all of those people pay attention to us, Don. I know for a fact. I can see it. Mike Cernovich stole so much of my stuff that I just, got tired of calling him out.
Really?
Sure.
Angel Blue wants to know where to get. You can give it out later again. But Angel Blue wants to know where do we find Tom Siebert?
Well, right now I don't really know. I mean, I have a blog or a Substack called A Wrinkle in Tom. Like, I've been talking too much. I think I've only written like 4 out of my last 70 posts, maybe.
You do a lot of videos, yeah.
I do. No more. Howdy Maisaki. You know the guy I'm talking about? I really like that guy. Howdy. He writes and thinks a lot about quantum physics and our reality changing, and he thinks all this video stuff is like just like another step backwards. People need to write more. That's why you're doing so good, Don.
Well, I'm trying to, so far at least. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the link in the chat now, guys. Okay, and we'll see if anybody has the nerve to come in and talk to Tom Siebert himself. There you go.
I wouldn't eat anybody alive. I will say, I just saw somebody put up like Dave McGowan was the GOAT. Dave McGowan was the best.
Yeah, that's Chris Graves. He loves Dave McGowan, and he's great. Yes. Thank you, Angel Blue says and Angel's so sweet. Peter Seacott says, you guys read Richard Sauter's books about modern underground structures in America?
That's the book I got. Richard Sauter. That's the one. Yeah. You have more than one? I only have one of his books. I have one of his books. I guess it was first. It was his first book.
Thank you. Good night, Ozar. I guess it's time to go to bed over there. I appreciate you watching all the way from there. The internet is a magical thing. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Angel says it. Yeah, so it's his Substack is Angel. His Substack is A Wrinkle in Tom. If you search for A Wrinkle in Tom Siebert, SIE, you can see his name's on the screen there. You'll be able to find him.
I don't need to.
All right, all right, come on, don't jump in. Well, see, there we go. There's RB Ham, the fighting Canadian.
Really? There he is. Am I intimidated? Oh, look.
There he is, and there he is behind the truck too. There, and he's got his new outfit on. Cool.
Yeah, I've got a new job working in the city. My shift is going to be 11 to 7:30 Monday to Friday, weekends off, so it's pretty good. But I had a horrible thing happen this morning. I had Flat Earth Dave booked for 9:00 a.m. this morning, and we went live, and nobody could hear us on Rumble or YouTube, even though we could hear each other fine.
Oh,
so I had to
stop Flat Earth Dave. Yeah.
So I had to reschedule, but that had never happened before. But nobody watching on YouTube or Rumble could hear us speaking. And
Oh, that's
I checked everything else. It was just as normal as usual, and I've never had a problem like that before. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. But
It is.
he did mention that he watched the last couple of my shows with you, Don,
yeah.
and he would love to join a panel talking about the COVID era because he had his own problems with that. And
Cool.
he also, I'll shoot you his particulars. He should. He says he wouldn't mind being on your show or him be or across
Cool.
like that.
That'd be
Very,
great.
very, very interesting fellow.
Well, we already have somebody Flatlander in the chat is already saying Flat Earth Dave is a Fed. Well, who isn't? They're all Feds. We get a blast from the past that just entered the chat. Chris Buchan, who was a former favorite in the chat.
This whole like flat Earth thing. So is RB Ham a proponent or an open-minded person when it comes to flat Earth? What can you tell me in one sentence where you stand on flat Earth?
Yeah,
I'm open-minded about it because we've been lied to about everything by the powers that not be. I mean, water always finds its level, correct?
I don't want to go back and forth about it because, like, I agree. You already have me sold on the fact that they've lied about so much. Maybe they're lying about it. It's really all you need to say. I will say I don't believe it.
RB Ham and I
good enough reason as any to not believe it. Okay, like so I don't believe it.
And that's what we're kind of alluding, not quite to Hollow Earth, but somewhat on that. I have the Hollow Earth somewhere. I think Raymond, somebody, I got it a long time ago.
All right, so now I have a deeper question though about that. So like part of the reason I believe that we live on a round planet or roundish planet is because I believe in the as above, so below principle, right? Macro is micro. So now when I look at atoms and molecules and all of those things that follow similar patterns to the patterns of the universe with its circles and its moons, right from atoms to anyway on out, it seems to me that does emulate the as above, so below principle. So now if you're telling me we live on a flat Earth, doesn't that also suggest we need to re-examine our entire interpretation of the molecular structure that science is built upon?
Yes, well, I would say
I look at it this way. From what I've looked into and understood, I think we live like what a snow globe is, with a flat plane in the middle, as above, so below. It is a globe. It is a roundish object. But the flat plane that we live on doesn't move, and that's why they call it a plane. Captain Cook made all his maps on a plane table. He never took into account the curvature of the Earth, right? Airplanes plane through the sky, right? When they put their autopilot on, they don't shoot out into space because gravity is supposed to be this invisible force but it's there's so many problems with it. And I remember Neil deGrasse fed Tyson was on a show one time, and somebody tried to ask him, well, what is gravity? He says, well, gravity, you really can't explain gravity, but all it is you drop you drop a ball and then it drops. Well, that's weight displacement. That doesn't understand.
Well, have you seen Flat Earth Guy, RB? Flat Earth Guy is my favorite, and he used to do all these great songs. One of them was Gravity, and he's so entertaining. But he's one that didn't answer me, But I want to get so this is a voice from the past, Chris Buchan.
Hey, Chris.
I didn't know you're still around, brother.
What's going on? I don't think you can see my posts in the chat, Don, because I think ever since Tony banned me for being mean and saying evil things, I can't post in there. Because I was talking, the whole time you guys were talking, I was posting shit about Richard Sauter, and I was trying to say hello to Keon Akuma and Kenny Effin Powers and all. But
cool.
All that stuff, guys, was in David Icke's books years ago. I'm sure you probably read it. All the stuff about the tunnels underneath Dallas, where likely the shooters that actually did the shooting escaped to underneath, and they're lit with like natural lighting, and it goes back to like ancient Atlantean times and all kinds of mind blowing stuff. So that's all in there. I don't know if you read it. Have you read that, Tom?
I have not. Which book was that?
Well, I would start with David Icke's book, The Biggest Secret. So he had some earlier ones that were really good, like "And the Shall Set You Free" is a really good one. But where he really gets into the woo-woo stuff
Is that on the green cover? Pardon my interruption. I have one of
no, that's Children of the Matrix. That I would recommend reading afterwards. Okay. And then he has quoted. But if you really want to know, like you were talking about Denver Airport and all that stuff with the Lucifer and all the underground stuff at Denver Airport, which is a huge thing in and of itself, I would start with The Biggest Secret, and then he gets into Diana's assassination and how that goes into underground tunnels, and the pillar that was hit by the Mercedes on the street level has the pentagram with the lighted torch and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, I question how much effort we all should be putting into what they've already gotten away with. I really feel like our focus now needs to be stopping all the stuff that comes next, which I think we've done. Actually, I think we've been pretty successful. For me, I don't spend a whole lot of time looking back anymore because, they obviously the Kennedy was a thing, and they got away with it, right? They killed RFK too, but they did at least kill the guy who killed him on Christmas Day before COVID, right? So, I'm.
Well, I get your point about that. The only thing is, you'd be surprised how many people. How many normies just don't even have the slightest clue about any of this stuff? I know.
Oh, no, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I try to get Don to come on. Don won't do X Spaces. Don, you've got to come on to X Spaces. I've been doing some big spaces with.
Follow me.
I followed you on X. I don't want to give my X handle on here. I'll email it to you. You should
email it to me. Email it to me. Yeah, that'd be great. I used to do X Spaces when I first started. When they first came on, and my first several were really successful, but I don't know what happened, and then it just dried up, and almost nobody was there. And I get disillusioned if nobody's there. I just come on. It's supposed to be growing here, and I guess it was part of my shadow band or whatever. Yeah, but I'd like to do that. Sure, I know Reptile Hybrids, another one does a lot of big.
Yes, I've been on spaces with him, and last night I was on one with. Lately, I've been doing a lot of them with. God, what the heck is his name? He uses the guy from Jurassic Park, Dr. Ian Malcolm. So I've been doing a lot of them with Ian Malcolm, with Joanna from the Free Palestine Girl, also Sarah DD Geopolitics. I've gotten to know her very well over the last year. So you really should come on, Don. I think it would be huge for you.
Yeah. Send me your thing. Send me whatever your handle is, and I definitely, of course, I'm not opposed to it. I said I got tired of nobody being there, So
all right. So I saw Chris mentioned reptile, alien hybrids, all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. What can you tell me about this, Rh negative, Rh positive blood?
That's a good question. So that's basically what they call the rhesus monkey.
Yes. No. Okay. I don't need the primary stuff. Okay. I need deeper than that. What's the not rhesus monkey? Blood.
Well, most people are not rhesus monkey. It's a very rare thing. I actually know a lady who claims that she's Rh negative, and she also claims to be an MK Ultra victim. And
I am A negative.
Really? Okay, yeah. Interesting.
And my daughter is O negative.
That's interesting too. So that's unusual as far as I know. Most people are. I think
that's why I'm asking these questions, man.
Yeah, well, that supposedly you have alien DNA. Yeah, but you were saying you're largely Ashkenazi, and sorry to be quote unquote anti-Semitic. My basically, and this is something that I talk to Cliff High about. I don't know if you know who Cliff High is. Cliff High and I discuss this all the time. Basically, sorry but not sorry. Jews are basically an alien human hybrid race. They're not like the rest of us. That's basically why Jews are so weird and different. Is because, and that's the origin of their chosenness. Is their extraterrestrial DNA.
All right.
Interesting. Well, I want to thank Peter Sikash right on the S. Raymond Bernard. That's exactly the guy who wrote Hollow Earth. And I remember it's here in my voluminous library. I want to bring
an old one.
Yeah, it's an old one.
Like 1960, something like that.
That's I as soon as I found out about that, I had to read it. And I also, when I heard about the Flat Earth Society, I said, what the hell? And it had I think it had 32 members worldwide back then. This is way before people. I became number 33. There's that 33 again. I said, well, I've got it because it didn't cost anything. And they sent me all this stuff for free. And it was a husband and wife team. Guy's name was Johnson, I think. He was it was really, and so every one of the the Flat Earth News was Flat Earth News. It was a little tiny few pages, and they would send it out just when they sent it out. It didn't cost anything. And it was the husband, and they lived in a little trailer out west. Somebody ransacked and destroyed their trailer. I don't know who. The round earth people, I guess, globalists. But, and his wife was she would of every issue would be filled up with her. She was an anti-vivisectionist, so she'd be ranting and raving about animal experimentation.
Oh yeah.
So so it was very. John Baskelin said, "I guess I've discredited myself." Well, I'm an open-minded guy. I'm a free-minded guy.
I think he was talking about me, Don. I think he was talking about
me.
me.
Okay, was you okay? Well, somebody did, but I had to. When I heard about that, I said, "Well, this is intriguing," because and this is my problem. Why I started. I've always had problems with science. I'm a fan of Charles Fort. I don't know if you guys read Charles Fort. He's one of my favorite
40
writers.
Times I used to read all the time. I just got busy.
His book, The Book of the Damned, Low,
got that book.
Wild Talents. I mean, they're incredible books written almost 100 years ago now, way ahead of his time. He's a fascinating writer, incredibly funny. And like his definition of evolution is perfect. Because he was talking about evolution a bit, and he said, "What is evolution?" He said, "It's survival of the fittest, survival of the richest. Survival of the fittest." And he said, what is the fittest? It's not always the biggest. It's not always the strongest. There's no one criteria for it. So he just redefined it as evolution, that survivors survive, and that's exactly what it is. And that's the way he looked at all science. He tabulated like all the ridiculous pronouncements of astronomers. They would make predictions about when certain things were going to, hit, and they're always 100% wrong 100 years ago. And they probably still are 100% wrong today. And he would go over old journals and find things like he's the one that discovered. He was the first one really to talk about UFOs. He didn't call them UFOs, but he was talking about that. And he would talk about the toads raining from the sky. Blood raining from the sky, rocks raining from the sky, fish raining from the sky. And he would, these were tons of people that witnessed it and reported it. And then he would have the ridiculous scientific pronouncements, how the crazy scientists would claim how this was impossible because, of course, there are no fish in the sky. So really opened my mind to that. So I have a disdain for organized science. And certainly during COVID, that was... that was drummed home a lot more when we heard about the lies. But I want to give White Wolf a chance here. White Wolf, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing okay.
What's happening? What are your thoughts on what we've been discussing so far?
Well, I think it was Tom who was talking about atoms and molecules. And I want to ask him, how does he know that atoms and molecules exist?
Right. I was waiting for that actually answer. Right. Of course.
Right
I know.
on.
I'm taking everybody on trust, right? I'm just taking everybody on trust, right? Now.
Okay. Now I have a question for all the flat earthers. Okay. If the earth is flat, why do we see sunlight on the bottom of the clouds before sunrise and after sunset? The flat earth model cannot explain that.
Well, I'm not really a flat earther, but again, I'm a doubter, and I think that there, like for instance, there's the midnight sun. What is it in Alaska? Parts of it where it's sun for 24 hours, but that is hard to explain on a flat Earth or a round Earth basis. To me, it makes no sense either way. So, yeah, there are equations. There's certainly things like eclipses, things like that I have questions about. But I just have a hard time thinking that we're on a giant ball that's whirling at, I forget however many miles per hour we're spinning while we're whizzing through space. It just
the Earth is stationary. There's no doubt about that.
So you're, and that's, I don't know for sure what it is, but I know it's RB said.
Not to be a dick, but I feel like since White Wolf popped in, like I'm having a difficulty hearing everything that's going on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's just me or somebody.
Okay. You can't hear me as good now?
Well, just correct.
I think it might be the engine noise from RB Ham's truck.
I don't know. I don't want to be a bitch about it, but I feel like this is another thing. I don't know whether the world's flat or not. What I do know is nobody credible was talking about the world being flat until Cass Sunstein got his massive budget from Obama to like throw a gazillion conspiracies in the water.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that think that they were thrown out there, and it's true. It could be. I don't know.
They're like, if they've kept it this quiet this long, I mean, we're not going to solve this now, right? Like, maybe we're making some progress on them, like stopping all the kid raping, or whatever this next thing is that they're going to do to like try to put us all on the big global financial oneness or whatever.
Tom, you just reminded me of something I wanted to bring up earlier, that you were talking about James Alefantis and how he's okay. So he was like at the center of this whole thing with the Pizzagate. So he spent a lot of time in France, and there's a lot of connections with these people with France. And there was that Jean-Luc Brunel and all these guys. If you take James Alefantis' name and francicize it, turn it into French, and you may know where I'm going with this. It's Jamais l'enfant, which if you translate that back in English is I'm into children, or I like children.
I love children.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, I was one of the big Reddit and Vote guys on when the whole Pizzagate thing was going down. I would say I was one of the leading investigators and commenters. We knew that there was going to be an attack on that place a day beforehand because guys in DC who were monitoring it on Vote and Reddit saw that they moved the camera.
Right.
They moved the camera. They moved it away from.
Also, I'm sure you're aware of this. Also, the French Freemason who designed Washington D.C. was Pierre L'Enfant.
Yeah,
the child, right, in French. So there's all these like weird things now. To a normie on the surface, that's just a coincidence. But when you dig, deeper, you find these are it goes way beyond coincidence. There's all these like little nuances and synchronicities that reverberate throughout the universe.
Signs and symbols. And symbols, right? That's all
RB's I hadn't had a chance to talk. Like, what do you think of what we're talking about, RB?
Well, I think it's all very interesting and all very pertinent to the conversation. We can drop the flat Earth stuff. I just wanted to say one thing more about the flat Earth thing and why there's so many people in my area of the world that think that the Earth is flat. Is because I live in the middle of the bald prairie in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And when your dog runs away, you can watch it run away for 4 days. If you take a powerful enough camera, you can view a rancher in Alberta or a farmer in Manitoba. That's why there's so many flat earthers in Saskatchewan, because we have the evidence.
All right. Well, I mean, again,
the flat Earth capital of the world, Saskatchewan.
Right. Is there anybody who's got footage on YouTube or somewhere that says, like, look, here's my camera. I'm looking at the moon and look how close it is. Now, look, I'm going across this prairie and we're in a different time zone. You got anything like that?
Oh, there's the long distance photography championships they hold every year, and their current record is 443 kilometers. And one guy, and it's like, you can follow this on Reddit. Has flat Earth guys on Reddit that cover this, and they say, how can it be possible to photograph something that's 443 kilometers away if there's a curvature of the Earth? How do you still be able to see it? And then they always come back with, it's light refraction. Mm-hmm. Or there's one person that took a photograph of a city in Ontario across from Chicago, and they say, if there's a curvature of the Earth, how can I be able to take a picture of something that's supposedly 60 miles away, So, I mean, there's all that. And I don't want to get into it much further.
Okay. I asked you, though. I asked you. So it's not your fault.
No, that's okay. But anyway, enough of this stuff. But I just wanted to say, hey, Don, can you come on my show tomorrow night?
Sure. I didn't know I hadn't planned on. Yeah, sure. 10 p.m.?
Yeah, 10 p.m. Eastern time. And since Flat Earth Dave and me didn't have our show this morning because it got cut off, we'll talk about the Flat Earth stuff, the pros and the cons. I'd really like somebody to explain to me Foucault's pendulum. That'd be interesting. Or where do meteorites come from? I'd like a flat earther to make.
Well, I think this Flatlander. Are you a flat earther, Flatlander?
Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Not necessarily a flat earther, but what I can tell you is what I can observe, and according to the math. So I know a little bit about math. I'm not, super mathematician, but I know you can find the math of the drop off if you're standing on a ball, and what it adds up to is 8 inches per mile squared.
Right.
So if you go out 10 miles, 10 times 10 is 100. 8 inches times 100 is 66.6 feet.
Oh,
That's what you
there's a
should see for a
666.
drop off. If you look out 10 miles across water, you should see a drop off of 66 feet. And that's a pretty simple observation anyone can make. All you got to do is find a lake that's maybe close to 10 miles long and get out there with your binoculars or just calm waters. And you'll
But
see
but but
it
but, but I think
doesn't.
RB may know, but I think they've done, because I hear from flat earthers all the time that they can look across a body of water and see the skyline for whatever, that kind of thing, where it shouldn't be possible with the curvature, because you say it should be a certain amount of inches per, that kind of thing, and based on the math, then we shouldn't be able to see those things. I don't know. RB, am I wrong? Haven't they done experiments like that?
Yeah, they've done a whole bunch. There's a famous Robotham experiment in the 1890s that he went down. There's canals in England, and he carried this stick and he started rowing down a canal and having somebody with a level thing watching him the whole way. And the further he went, they could still see him. They could still see the stick that he was holding up, the refraction of the stick. And at a point where
drops,
and it never dropped, and at a point where it's supposed to, according to the math. So
that's that. I mean, like I said, anyone can do it. There is a YouTube channel anyone go look for. It's called Wide Awake, and it's a guy. He's in Florida on the Gulf Coast, and he takes videos of boats going out across into the Gulf. And what happens is, the further away they go, that glare you get where things just kind of turn, like they disappear. It never goes down. It just kind of goes into
it's because the human eye can only see so far. Anyhow,
but it's like a glare. It's like a glare zone with all the light refracting off of the water surface. So you see this glare, and then it goes into like this abyss, I guess you.
Well, I didn't know this was going to turn into a complete flat Earth discussion.
Yeah,
nor I.
Personally, that's why I'm saying I'm not necessarily a flat earther, but what I can't tell you is.
But I will spend 10 minutes talking about it.
Well, because I think it's important.
In your name.
Well, I think it's. I do think it's important.
I'm sure you own your house. You're probably doing better than me, but
just hear me out now, and then I'll shut up. I think it's important because if they're telling you you're living on a spinning ball in space and all that, and it's not true, that's an important thing.
I agree.
Now,
I agree.
As far as what goes beyond like where we are and all that, I don't know, because I can't prove, I can't observe it, I can't go there to the edge of the earth or any of that. I don't know. But what I know is what they're telling us is not true.
Well,
also, one more last thing I want to say is about NASA. Every bit of their footage is fake.
That's true of the Earth. Yeah,
believe that.
Did you see the recent? Did you see the new picture they put out with the Earth looked like a potato or something? Did you see, like, they put a new composite? It was like.
And Ariana Grande was squeezing it or something.
Well, it looked ridiculous, but this is the problem that we have. We have NASA in there, where we know all the people that investigated that. Most of us think they're lying about everything, but we also have the Antarctic Treaty. Something's going on in Antarctica. They have a treaty there for something. So it's either they're hiding, because the flat earthers, I believe, think there's the giant ice wall there. That's what they're trying to hide. Other people believe, Hitler has UFOs there or something. Other people believe dinosaurs are there. People believe the entrance to the hollow earth. Something's going on there. But if you remember Admiral Byrd, and you can still see the interview. I talk about this all the time. It's available on YouTube. The Longines
chronograph.
Yeah, chronograph. Yeah, and I talked to Byrd's chronoscope. I talked to Byrd's grandson several years ago when I was thinking of writing a book about it, and he had no idea about it. I said, "What do you think?" Because this is the most famous explorer in the world. This is not a crank. So they're talking about, hey, what'd you see there? You discovered the South Pole, all that. And he's talking about, there was a land beyond the pole that is twice the size of the United States. It has all the natural resources we could ever want.
So,
What was he talking about?
we don't know. We don't even know. He was
He died shortly after that,
Mason.
and
It's funny how they're all Masons, and we don't know if you
Yeah.
can believe what he said either.
There's also a Mason like thing there at the, I guess at the south, right near Amundsen Scott Station, along with a bust of Admiral Byrd. And Don, I don't know. This is up your alley because you're a Kennedy assassination guy. I don't know if you've heard this part. I learned this from your buddy, Dark Journalist. Admiral Byrd had a cousin who was
I don't know if it's my buddy, but yeah,
like a lieutenant colonel. His name is Dreifel Byrd, and he owned the Texas School.
Texas. Oh yeah, I've written about that.
How weird is that? Like, talk about a coincidence, right?
Well, not only that, but after the assassination, he got the alleged sniper window out of there. I'm sorry, we scared White Wolf. White Wolf, I'm sorry, buddy. You would have jumped back in. White Wolf leaves sometimes, but he installed it, and he put the sniper's nest, the fake sniper's nest, in his family room or dining room or something at his house, and used to show it off to people. And after he died, his kids thought it was lurid, and they donated it back to the 6th floor museum. But yeah, I mean, well, Brian and Deb McCarthy, Dark Journalist is a Steiner guru. Well, I can tell you about Dark Journalist. He interviewed me years ago when he was nobody. I guess that's why he interviewed me then. And the guy never aired my interview. He's the only one that interviewed me, and I've never seen the interview. And so I questioned him. Hey, where's this going to be up and everything? And he's kind of putting me off for a while. And then he stopped answering me. I kept saying, because it was a video interview. I said, I feel uncomfortable there being video of me out there. I don't know where it's at. I'm not going to get to see it. He never answered me. Carolyn Rose Goya, who's in this in chat a lot, she was friends and used to do some work for him, but he just won't answer me. I don't know what. And now he's gotten really big. He's been on Alex Jones and everything. So I don't know what his problem was, but all I can tell you is that I said, look, I can't believe how rude you are. If you don't want to air the interview, that's fine, but just tell me. But he wouldn't answer me. So I don't know.
I've been on radar for a while, and I've never trusted him. I don't really know why. I don't know why. I just never watched his stuff, or I watched a couple of it early on. There was just something about him. He seemed concocted.
He was very smarmy because at that time he Skype. We did Skype. So the avatar I had on Skype was of me and my daughter. So he made a comment about, he basically said, is that your wife or girlfriend or something? I said, no, it's my daughter. But he just, I don't know. This expression he had on his face when he said it. I said,
okay. Just like something out of a Batman comic to me. I don't know. I could never take him seriously.
Yes.
Journalist.
He has a bit of a diabolical look or something. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the
he dresses like a man in black, right? I think Kurt Metzger is a big fan, but I have always thought Dark Journalist was a clown, and I've always thought that I was wrong, frankly, because
you're right, Tom. No, he's made a career out of things that people like Don and I were saying for free like 10 years ago. And I would go into his chats like maybe 2018, 2019 while he was streaming and he only had, let's say, 500 people on. And I would type in all the stuff that like about Epstein and the Jews and Israel. And that bitch girlfriend of his, that Olivia, she would basically shut me down and say, no, you can't say that here. She's anti-freedom of speech because I was being mean and saying, inappropriate things.
Watch
now
the wives, watch the girlfriends. There's your answer.
Yeah.
She's running the show.
Yeah.
She's running.
But now all that stuff, he talks about it on his streams when he has like 2,000-3,000 people. Same shit that I was saying back then that they were telling me to shut up about.
Sandy O was saying the same stuff that I was saying 3 or 4 years ago. She used to repeat it verbatim. So did Mike Stern, a witch. I mean, these people are all fake.
They're grifters, most of them, yeah.
Well, because people at the Daily Wire worked with her years ago that I knew, and they told me she was just an actress. All she did was.
Talking about Olivia?
No. Now I'm talking about Candace Owens, who I call.
Okay, yeah.
So years and years ago, all she was a teleprompter reader. That's what I was told by people that was there.
Well, she's not. Well, I've had some again. These people. That there's Deborah.
Doesn't seem to be now.
Dana Duda, who I've had on my show a couple of times. I had her on not that long ago, and she's done research on Candace Owens and found out there's weird things in her background. But now Dana Duda doesn't answer me. So what? I don't know what the hell's going on with people, but you see, because I tried to get her back on the show. I said, let's talk more about Candace Owens. And she also had done it work for Whitney Webb. Whitney Webb was on my show early on too, a couple times. Now, she hasn't answered me in years because she's blown through the roof. But so these people are, once they get big again, it's like a social hierarchy. She's graduated to where she can go sit at the big table in the cafeteria.
There's
I'm
6
still over the
degrees.
corner.
You mean Whitney
6
Webb?
degrees of separation between a lot of these people, you'll find out. And because a lot of them are just actors and they're in kind of a network and they're feeding people information. And that's why I brought up Flat Earth Dave, FED. His initials, Flat Earth Dave, FED.
Yeah.
Well, guess
what?
Yeah. You get it?
Yeah.
David
because
Pound, Center for what is it? Informed America. So was he CIA or was he mocking CIA?
Well, he was mocking it.
I know
he did that on purpose. Yeah.
He pushes an app where he tries to get everyone to download this app, and it tracks anyone who downloads the app. You're getting tracked by whoever is.
Every app. Every app. Look, you're probably right. I'm just saying.
I'm right. Because I've been following these people for long enough to know what they're all about. And he's I wouldn't trust him. He pushes a false model, just like Don, you'd mentioned the Flat Earth Society. They push a false model because I'm not saying Earth is flat or round, but I'm saying I don't believe in a sphere. And
that's the thing. Tom,
I see a lot of people who will push the flat Earth and they'll push a false model saying, "Oh, the sun goes around a circle around the North Pole." That's not true. Because if you go to the South Pole in the winter, you'll see the sun's going around the South Pole.
Yeah,
does that mean?
And that's the thing, Tom. As I was trying to say, Tom, even in something like the flat Earth world, there's infighting, and they all think each other are shills.
Well, when you watch these people do shilly things, it's everywhere.
Shilly. Yeah, I mean, you can't find any aspect of this from JFK assassination on 9/11, UFOs.
Yep.
It's always everybody thinks everybody else is a CIA shill or something.
Well, because there's a lot of actors that
right.
spoil,
and half of them are.
The water. There's a lot of actors.
Come on, man.
So,
Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, a lot of these actors go in there and they're trying to, portray themselves as this or that. But
I agree with you, but like somebody like Tucker Carlson, okay, somebody told me recently, I went and looked on his website. He is selling 2 of my books on his website. So he somehow knows about me. So I don't know, why would he sell my books? I have no idea. So
you said Ramaswamy had one on his shelf.
Yes, Ramaswamy. That's why it doesn't take much to turn my head. You have an interview with a book behind me, and I'm oh wow, cool. And
I'm a skeptic, straight up. That's it.
I mean, but look at him. He obviously didn't read my book. He wouldn't. And I keep falling for everybody, Angel. I know. I'm
gonna go. Peace out,
okay, brother.
Guys.
Thank you, Flatliner. Nice meeting you. But it's
same here. Thanks, guys, for allowing me.
I was going to address something. Okay, somebody said Dana's moving across country, so maybe that's, I don't know. But she didn't answer me, and she could have caught up. No matter where she is, she should have got her email. So I don't know. I like her work. I was talking it up, and I don't know why. I don't think too many other people are interviewing her. So that's
Dana?
the way.
Dana who?
It's Rotting Jewels, and she goes by Dana Duda.
I followed her on X, and I never see posts from her.
Yeah, so I know, and she's done, but she's ironically, like I said, because I first started paying attention to Candace Owens because I was looking at the Charlie Kirk assassination. I saw this story makes no sense, and that Erica Kirk, the instant I saw her, I said, "Oh, repelled by her like somebody. This is like." Tammy Faye Baker on steroids. What the hell is this? I've never seen anything like this. She may be the phoniest personality I've ever seen in my life. And she just keeps getting phonier.
I know.
And I said, well, and then Candace started doing this deep dive on her. My God, she was a realtor with the Rothschild, the broker was Rothschild that financed Epstein.
Yeah, it's insane, really. It's like, She's the worst Lifetime actress I think we've ever seen.
Oh, ever. She's so
And
she's
so
so-
now they're like caught in this sunk cost narrative where they can't get rid of her, right? So like, I don't even understand. They're so terrible at all the things they do now. It's like all they can do is like just keep pushing forward with like, well, we're gonna kill you all soon enough, even though you don't believe anything we do anymore. It's all so crazy.
And I don't know if they do it on purpose. If they try to to make it so that my cat Dexter says Dana has a lot going. Okay, I'm fine. If somebody has, that's cool. I just say I have a problem with people that don't email me back. But anyhow, so Candace did this deep dive on Erica Kirk and just found out all this interesting stuff. Not to mention, I think she did great work on Macron's.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's a dude too.
Oh.
And I think she did a great job on that. And so I said, okay, she's doing some real journalism. I don't know if it's the most important thing in the world, but if a president of a country is perpetrating a fraud like that, I think people have a right to know. Because what does that say about his character?
He's running the country.
Yeah,
right?
he's running the country, and
that podcaster guy's wife is dark journalist. Mrs. Dark Journalist is the real brains behind that operation. In the same way that Erica Kirk was running Charlie Kirk, right?
Yeah, exactly. But see,
Jar Jar Abrams' wife, Katie McGrath, who is from the Rockefeller bloodline up in Maine, is running Jar Jar Abrams McGrath because he's a hack. He has no talent. He does what they tell him. All these people are frauds. They're all being run by these witches behind the scene.
Yeah, but so she attracted my attention doing that. Yeah, I her personality is off-putting. I don't like her personality. But then Dana Duda came on my show and talked about she had discovered a lot of the same stuff about Candace Owens' background that she discovered about Erica Kirk. They're almost very similar.
Yeah. Well, all right, hold on a second. So now I had seen that years ago, right? Now, is it true or is it concocted? Like, what was she saying? That she was part of that escort service, right?
No, I didn't know. She was, first of all, she said that Candace lied about her upbringing, just like Erica did, the exact same way, saying her mother was a single mother and all the exact same thing she did. And then Candace had a kind of a typically ghetto type thing, which she doesn't seem ghetto at all, when she was in high school, where her and her father tried to launch a lawsuit that she had been discriminated against because she was black. Something, it seemed completely contrary to her conservative persona.
Right.
So, I don't know.
The one thing that I've always stuck with about Candace Owens, and this doesn't necessarily have anything to do other than like her faith in herself. It's like most black influencers who want to get on TV or in movies or anything like that, they get rid of that African nose. They make themselves a nice little white nose. Even the Halle Berrys and all those, actresses who are so anti-white, they all get their little noses fixed. Candace Owens.
Oh yeah, they get their
Joy Reid, she dyes her hair blonde and she hates white people.
Who were you talking about?
Joy Reid.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them like that. Yeah,
she's a nobody. I mean, like she's already crashed and burned. If Joy Reid is on your side right now, that's a negative for yourself.
Yeah, no, she's talking about fame. I don't know what kind of fame she even had, but she's already forgotten.
Well, she had her 15 minutes. I'm sure she made a few million.
She did, but that's not enough to what's in her. That's not what the demon inside her wants. Money is not close to enough. Not even close. Not even close.
Well, I was telling one of Rentz's guests that I talked to on Sunday nights. He runs a podcast, Stefan Verstappen, who's like a survival guy. And I was telling Stefan this recently because I talked to some really big name influencers. I'm not going to do what you do, Don. I'm not going to name drop, but people would know some of the. I mean, I did say Cliff High, but that's not like a secret. But there are some other big name influencers that I communicate with on a regular basis. And I'm not saying them in particular, but a lot of these big name influencers in general that have, let's say, 100, 200, 300,000 or more subscribers, a lot of them are totally concocted. At least 30 to 50% of them are just fake, and they're grifters, and they're just basically out for money and fame and women and all. Like they're not real people, basically. They
pay for the number. John Bascom said that. I guess Candace Owens and her family settled for $37,000 in that lawsuit, and her attorney was the same as Alex Jones, Sandy Hook attorney. Well, there you go.
Another
these people. It really does make you think: is there anything? Oh, Black Zionist talking about X-22 report. That guy he wanted to interview me years ago, and he wanted me to pay $3,000 to be interviewed by him. And I told him, I said, "What? Why would you think I would pay $3,000? I wouldn't pay $3,000 to be interviewed on CBS Nightly News. I mean, what are you talking about?" And no, that's what it costs. I said, "Okay, well, I don't know." Plus,
well, and they all have these investment things that they want you to get involved with, and they all want you to buy their merch. Another guy I've gotten tired of lately. He's gotten too big for his britches, and he gets. I'm gonna get hatred for this for saying is this guy Chris what's his name that he takes down the pedophiles on TV?
Oh, Chris
Hansen.
Oh, Chris Hansen. Oh God, I never liked that guy. I never liked that guy.
Now, here's the thing: I have no sympathy for pedophiles or anything, but if you look at this stuff from a jurisprudence standpoint, they're creating crimes that don't exist, and they are essentially entrapping people. Even
yes,
guys who are trying to go have sex with kids. If you would have left the guy alone, you don't know that he wouldn't have, let's say, tried to go get with another adult. So you're creating a crime where there isn't one. And
they're narcs. They're like narcs. But
and legally speaking, there's no victim because it's a made-up thing.
Exactly, Chris. I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, the state is claiming victimhood. And it's like, well, there is no 15-year-old girl. It's a 35-year-old fucking police detective that's saying that.
I mean, I don't know what the penalty should be for that, but it shouldn't be because there was no real victim, like you said. I mean, you can say, okay, well, this guy has a predilection for this. Maybe he needs help, but but that's not the way they look at it. Oh, we caught a child predator. Well,
and this is sprung up.
Maybe he's a potential one. Yeah.
Not only with law enforcement doing this to generate revenue and fame and all of that, but you also have now these guys that they're these pedo catchers, these like vigilante types who will form groups, and they live stream the shit where they go on. They'll have a guy do the same thing that the cops do, except these are just civilians doing this. And they're making.
Why didn't you go to Epstein Island and catch some real ones?
Well, people are doing that too, but this is like become a cottage industry now, and you have these people going in. And again, I'm not defending pedophiles here, but again, what they're creating a crime where there isn't one, and there's
Chris, you and I are on the exact same page. I mentioned this because I used to hate narcs so much when I was young. I thought that's the lowest level of something to befriend somebody, pretend you're their friend, just to get them to entrap them. And that's exactly what these cops do that are online, or FBI agents that are pretending to be. And I think people like that, those men should be studied because clearly that's an incredibly strong impulse. If you remember the Chris Hansen one of those guys that showed up, they had, and again, they were just fucking with him, I guess. They told him, take your clothes off when you're coming up the driveway because I can't wait to see. And there is not a man on this earth, if I don't know who, Scarlett Johansson, whoever you think the sexiest woman was in there. No man would do that. Why should I take my clothes off in the driveway? That makes no sense. This guy did, because that's how strong that was. There was a guy he was a number 3 in Homeland Security. He had a huge position in the government. He kept emailing or messaging back and forth with somebody he thought was, 13-year-old girl or whatever it was. And again, this guy is 60 years old or something. He's deluded enough to think that there's a 13-year-old girl out there that is looking for a 60-year-old guy. I mean, we all know that. I mean, how deluded do you have to be to think that? He ended up, again, he didn't do anything. He just communicated. And I don't even know if the 13-year-old was real. But he lost his career, lost his family and everything. So it's something that should be studied. But you say that and you say, oh, okay, they should cut off their balls or you're one. That kind of, no, this is because it happens because we don't understand it. To me, I think that's very wrong. You're exactly right. They create these people.
Exactly.
I suppose that argument carries some value, but I am reminded of 6,000 employees of the Pentagon.
Yes.
All exchanging child pornography on their server.
Yes.
And they all walked.
Exactly. Nobody did anything to anybody. Nope.
And I also remember that when O.J. Simpson killed his wife, in my opinion, and got away with it.
Oh, 100%.
There were people who set him up in Las Vegas. In fact, the guy who hired O.J. to steal that stuff was the guy who testified and walked, and O.J. went to jail. O.J. was the only guy who went to jail from that situation. It was all a giant setup. So when I hear about these poor guys who get conned into thinking some 12-year-old wants to suck their dick, there might be something else going on beforehand that made them a pretty good target, is my guess. So I
Well,
don't lament it.
I'm not defending them, Tom. I'm not defending their actions.
I didn't say you
agree
were.
with you.
I don't
but
say you were.
I
didn't
don't
say you
agree.
were.
I think the justice system is totally rigged, and I think there's a profit motivation. And I see, and one of my favorite targets is this creep in Florida, Sheriff Grady Judd, and Don knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This guy is a ham for attention, and he's using social media. And people think he's some kind of fucking saint, and he's going to save everybody. He's catching all the bad guys. He is one of the most corrupt law enforcement officials in this country, and the only reason why he doesn't run for higher office is he doesn't want to have
Chris has told me about it. And I mentioned him in my book Bullocracy because there was a case there where he did look like he was going after the right people. That's one way I knew him from. But RB, what do you think of all the stuff we're saying?
That's all very interesting. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like, the FBI is famous for that, creating terrorist plots and trapping,
same kind of thing. Yeah.
And trapping mentally ill, men.
I just have a problem with people, whether it's dope or certainly sex with kids or potential terrorism. And I have a problem with people that aren't doing anything. And haven't done anything, but they're goaded into maybe doing something. And then when they show an inclination that, okay, I will meet this little kid in the park or whatever they say to them, that because there's no little kid, I just don't think you can treat it like the same crime as somebody that actually does something to a kid.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. They're creating a crime where there isn't one, and like I said, it's become profit motivated. A lot of these vigilante pedo catchers, I mean, they've got tons of followers online, and they've got the camera. It's like basically people who can't get a real job now they're becoming influencers. And
but the thing is, like, if someone were to reach out to me, right? Like, I remember again, what was it? I wrote a review about Gone Girl, the book Gone Girl, and like some 13-year-old girl allegedly wrote to me, oh, this is very interesting. I feel like your feelings on marriage, but could you please explain to me why? I don't remember what it was, and I was like, you write back. Thanks for your email. I don't think this is appropriate for me to be talking about.
I agree with you.
So if someone else gets that email, like, hey, I'd really like to talk to you about why my marriage failed, 13-year-old girl. Oh,
yeah. And you have an interest in this? Why? I mean,
I also think it's being used to justify the police state, also, which is something that I have a big problem with.
Right.
So that
well, I mean, it's in the same line of thinking as roadblocks. We got to catch the drunk driver, so let's violate the Fourth Amendment. So this is we have to stop pedophiles. So we need to go online and try to catch them.
Yeah, exactly. But it's gotten out of hand, and they're creating these. So let's say with those roadblocks that you're talking about. Let's say there's two cops out on patrol, and they're sitting there having their coffee at 2:00 in the morning, and a guy flies by, going 90 miles an hour in a 50-mile-an-hour zone, weaving and all over the place. They pull him over. He's puking on. So I have absolutely arrest that guy and lock him up. He's a drunk driver. He's a threat to public safety. But just randomly stopping people. Have you had anything to drink tonight? Have you had? You and your wife had a glass of wine with your anniversary dinner 4 hours ago. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You're gonna have to get out of the car, and we're gonna have to arrest you. That's all bullshit.
Yep, that's exactly right, and that's the problem. I don't even get me started on drunk driving. I've criticized MAD so many times, and I was close to joining DAM, Drunk Drivers Against Mad Mothers, at one point because it was just man. It just, and I wrote about this in Survival of the Richest, because Mothers Against, I was a pathfinder in drunk driving back in 1978, 79 or whatever. And, I was shocked, and back, I was barely over the limit. I'd come back from partying. And of course they profiled me. I had long hair and a beard. And so clearly I'm driving at 2 or 3 in the morning. Odds are I've consumed something. So, they had a good chance. But I mean, it ruined my life. I couldn't get insurance for a couple of years. I had to have an uninsured motorist fee. And Mothers Against Drunk Drivers were just starting then. They were sitting in the courtroom, pressuring judges to go after young burnouts like me. And these same people, I wrote to them when I wrote Survival of the Richest, because they say nothing about all the NFL players that get caught 7, 8 times. And this one guy, the wide receiver, wasn't even any good, Dante Stallworth. He killed a guy in a hit and run accident while drunk driving. They did nothing about it. I wrote to one of the Mothers Against Drunk Drivers chapters, and she gave me some gobbledygook, which I published in the book. And they said they were satisfied with his 15 or 20-day sentence. He could have done 10 years. And again, if it had been you or I, we would have done 10 years. So that's why I don't take any of them seriously. But at any rate, RB, you haven't got to talk much, brother. We only got a few minutes left.
Well, I just wanted to say it was a really interesting show. Wide topic of conversations, very interesting, from the flat Earth to Candace Owens and Erica Gertz, the whole thing. But that's the one thing about the times we live in. There's never anything. There's never anything not to talk about, because it's the absolute absurdity is off the charts. And I think we saw that during the COVID scamdemic, how the absurdity was swallowed by so many people, and it really made me nervous, because those that can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. Like the absurd idea that if you were born in Poland, but you're an Ashkenazi Jew, you're allowed to have a house in Palestine and kick an indigenous family out of that house because some book somewhere, some holy book that you believe in, says that 3,000 years ago your ancestors were there. And I think that's where we're at right now. The unveiling of the absurdities is to such a point that I'm hoping that the Great Awakening, and I'm hoping that the Great Awakening will beat the Great Reset, and people will start waking up en masse to all this nonsense, because it's the only way forward.
Thank you, brother.
Do people, like RB, like, do people really feel like it's going that bad for us? I mean, like, I do feel like these forces pressing down on everything that's happening is just turning like evil into a joke in a lot of ways. Like, it's really just making them like comic figures, and that is like the only thing that bothers them, right? It's the only thing that bothers them is like to be mocked and to be made fun of. And it feels like that's sort of what they still got all the money, they still control all the media, they still got the pharma company, and yet, like, they're clowns. Like they really do seem like clowns. And I know, like, some people are eating their shit, but it's a lot fewer. And there's a lot more of us that are just like, you people are, I mean, seriously, right?
I believe we proved that up here in Canada with the Canadian Freedom Convoy. It stopped vaccine passports and all that stuff in the fucking in midstream. They were planning on all kinds of horrible things. Vaccine passports, vaccine mandates, all these things. You couldn't travel between provinces unless you got vaxxed. Then the Canadian Freedom Convoy happened. A Canadian, a grassroots bunch of blue collar workers decided we've had enough. And look what it did. That's the one thing that terrifies them. When a grassroots movement just rises out of nowhere without any organized way of subverting it, that scares the hell out of them. That's why they cracked down so hard on it. Why they sent out the stormtroopers. Why they froze people's bank accounts and supported the Freedom Convoy. That scared the hell out of them. So I think that's something we can take into account. They're not as tough as we think. They're not as big and as organized and as smart as they think they are. Well, you know that?
I can tell you that. I've been in rooms with some of them. They are not nearly as smart as they think they are, which is, again, like, all these people fall on hubris every time, and they're going to fall again. I mean, it's just like, it's so obvious it's not going to work. You people are clowns and incompetent, okay? Yes. I mean, it's just like, how bad is it going to be for all of us when this shit goes wrong? Because it's not like they're walking away with the gold band. That's not going to happen. It never has. And it's not going to now. The only question is, how many dead are there going to be before, like, it starts getting fixed?
Well, I think again, they let the genie out of the bottle with the 70 million people, whatever, that voted for Trump. I mean, those people are all awake, at least to knowing the corruption's there. They've trusted him, and most of them don't anymore. But you can't really put that. Maybe that's why they're planning something with Tucker Carlson and a third party. They're going to try to channel it there. But at some point, you can't keep screwing with people and not doing anything. At some point, you're going to have to throw them some breadcrumbs. At some point, because I thought they would throw some breadcrumbs.
Or kill 4 billion people.
Yeah, I mean, or the eugenicists just come out and they just do wipe out most of the population. Maybe they'll do that. I don't know.
Really, I'm not sure they can. I just think they might try.
Yeah, and you're right. The incompetence factor is right. You don't just because you're powerful doesn't mean I don't think they're more intelligent. They have power. That's what happens. You don't have to be that. They're really crappy conspirators. I think they're crappy on purpose, maybe because I think they like to leave calling cards, but maybe not. Maybe they're just incompetent. But we're almost out of time. I want to get Chris Buchan. Any final words, brother? Again, it was a long time since I've talked to you.
Yeah, I happen to have the day off from work today, but it was great talking to you, Tom. It was nice talking with you and RB, and just great to get the truth out and try to wake some people's minds up. And I'll send you my Twitter handle and email.
Yeah,
and,
please do. We'll do some X's.
I think it would be good for you. I think not only you'll get some good exposure, but people should hear your idea. In my opinion, you're one of the most brilliant cultural commentators and authors that's out there right now.
I agree.
I appreciate that, Chris. Thanks so much. RB, any closing words? Tomorrow night at 10 p.m. on RB's Beyond the Pale channel, and I'll be his guest.
Yeah, we're going to talk about we're going to probably do a recap of it since my Flat Earth show got canceled out. We'll maybe talk about what happened there and some
Flat Earth Don.
Yeah, and Flat Earth Don. So and I just wanted to also repeat what those other guys were saying. Don, I think you're one of the most unpublicized geniuses of our time. Your Substack is worth a follow. Please give them $10 a month or whatever it is. I subscribe.
$5 a month. I appreciate.
Yeah, it's $5 a month. It's like a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks once a month. Follow Don Jeffries on Substack, and I'm really looking forward to your new book coming out about sports and the politicization of sports. It's going to be very interesting. I think it's going to stir a lot of shit. And boy, if you think Masking the Truth was shadow banned.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. It will be, again, because I'm coming at it literally. I will be the only person on earth that is adopting the stance I'm taking in this. So I have to wait and say, and again, it'll be just my social credit score will plummet to new depths. I'll have to come up with something new to measure it. I don't know how to do it. Tom Siebert, man. A lot of fun. Give out your whatever you want to promote or whatever thing. It's always fun talking with you. You do great work. What do you want to promote, or any final words?
All right. Well, my Substack has been called A Wrinkle in Tom. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I feel like we're entering a new phase. I feel like the last war is over and we kind of won. Okay, sort of. At least it wasn't too bad. So now we're moving into this new thing, and I'm trying to figure out what that's going to happen. I would just say I think the spiritual non things that we see around us are just going to keep pressing more and more down on this world, and try to ride it out with them, because I don't think they're here to kill us. Honestly, I really don't.
Well, they seem to like to toy with us, but yeah, Tom, it's great. And Angel Blue says, do another show like this during the week. I'm going to have to figure out how to go live on Substack. I'm going to try that because I have over 12,000 followers there. So I should theoretically get a big audience there. I don't know, but then knowing me, somehow it'll claim I have 5 people watching. I don't know.
Well, just record it separately, because Substack may, edit it. I mean,
I don't know how it works. I'm going to try it though, but no problem. Flatlander, enjoyed having you. And White Wolf, I apologize to you, brother. We had 5 people in here, so thanks. I appreciate it.
I'm just an aggressive guy. I think everybody has a right to speech, and also.
Oh no, White Wolf. I don't know. He probably was going to turn it into something about the Catholic Church. He usually does, but he's a great guy. He's a brilliant guy. I think he's the most unheralded Catholic scholar out there. I love you, White Wolf. White
Wolf is?